Presidential Commission of Inquiry into large-scale fraud and corruption grills Gotabaya Rajapaksa once again.
The former president receives an invitation from Uganda.
DEW Gunasekara reveals a new system used by the government to obtain loans.
658 abortions take place on a daily basis in Sri Lanka, a revelation from the Ministry of Health.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandru Ferdinando.
I'm Bernadine Jazz Singha. Very good evening to you.
Let's start off with a look at stories in detail.
A national event to celebrate the International Day of the Midwife was held today under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena.
The event was held at Temple Trees this morning under the theme Women and Newborns, the Heart of Midwifery. Midwives who had excelled in the field of family health services were presented tokens of appreciation at the event.
Bilindun Paul Sauk Sevawe Hadavatai Mema Themawen Pawatan Labana Bima.
Former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa had been summoned to appear before the Presidential Commission to inquire into serious acts of fraud or corruption or PRESIFAC today. The PRESIFAC media spokesperson said Gotabaya Rajapaksa was summoned to provide a statement over 3 allegations.
S. Shammuganadam, the PRESIFAC media spokesperson, noted that Gotabaya Rajapaksa had been summoned in connection with an ongoing investigation into Basil Rajapaksa. Shammuganathan claimed that investigations had revealed that he had spent over 150 million rupees on domestic air travel and that he had deployed 2 sailors from the Navy to serve as cooks at the house of his son and daughter in the United States. He added that an investigation is also underway into the deploying of over 160 police officers for Basil Rajapaksa's security detail. I was questioned on security provided to various persons at certain instances. Successive governments have provided security to various persons depending on the need for security. The former president was provided security by the army. The security detail needs to understand the habits and the day-to-day activities of the person they are providing security for. These soldiers were the ideal persons to provide security for him. If you look at the past, Minister Douglas Devananda was provided security by the army. Ananda Sangari did not hold any position, but he too had military security. The wife of the late Foreign Minister Lakshman Kadirugama was also provided commander security for a certain period of time.
දෙයක් යුද්ධයක් නැහැ කියන එක දේශපාලනයට වෙනවා කියලා කතාවක් තියෙනවා ගොඩක් දෙනා කියනවා ඒක ජනතාව කියන කතාවක් නෙමෙයි කියන්නේ නැහැ දේශගත වෙන්න යනවා නෑ විදේශගත වෙන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ යම් මාධ්‍යවලින් වාර්තා පළ කරලා තිබුණා ඔබතුමා හමුදා ප්‍රධානීන් කීප දෙනෙක් එකතු කරගෙන හමුදා කුමන්ත්‍රණයක් කරන්න උත්සාහ කරනවා කියලා ඒක නම් හමුදාව අපේ හමුදාව කියන එක විනයගරුක හොඳ හමුදාවක් දෙනේ හමුදාට වගේ අභූත චෝදනා කරන එක වැරදි. පහුගිය දවස්වල ඇමරිකාවේ විශේෂ වෙලා හිටියේ කෙල්ලපනේ මයිරලියට නොයා ඒක මගහරින්නද යම් නෑ මම හිටියත් මයිරලිය වලට යන්නේ නෑනේ. පහුගිය දවස්වල ආදිසාමච්චාදී මට ආරවල ගහන එක රාජපක්ෂවරයෙක් පිටපස්සෙන් නම් රාජපක්ෂවරු ගොඩාක් ඉන්නවනේ. කියා බලකලා ළඟදී මේක කරන්න කියලා කිව්වා. මේ තමන් දේශපාලනය කරන කෙනෙක් තමයි. එහෙනම් ඒක මම නෙවෙයි. මම කායක දේශපාලනය කරලා නැහැනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ මම නෙවෙයි.
An individual accompanied by a number of civil organizations lodged a complaint with the Human Rights Commission today, citing that he was brutally tortured while in police custody. The individual named Sarath Disanayaka made a revelation regarding a transaction that took place during the last presidential election.
This individual had been arrested by police last Thursday and was released on police bail the next day. Filing a complaint with the Human Rights Commission today, he cited that he was brutally tortured while he was in police custody.
I worked as a driver for Gamini Senrath and his friend Rohan Lokmudali. There was a huge issue with regard to cash at the temple trees. Most of the checks were encashed by me. I signed on the reverse of each check, encashed it and delivered it to them. By the last day, that was the 17th of January, we had drawn nearly 12,000 million rupees to temple priests. This cash was delivered to a person named Bandara. There was also Rohan Lokumudali, another individual named Tushar there.
එතකොට හිටියා එතන රෝහන් ලොකුමුදලි මහත්තයයි තව යාගේ යාළුවෙක් වෙන තුෂාර කියලා එක්කෙනෙකුයි ආහාර දුන්නේ ඔව් බ්‍රහස්පතින්දා රෑ අරගෙන
They came to my house on Thursday night, assaulted me and took me to the police station and assaulted me again. They then took me in front of Sugat Rohan Lokumudali and questioned me while assaulting me, saying that I stole 500,000 rupees and to accept the complaint being lodged. I asked how could I accept such a complaint if I had not stolen the 500,000 rupees. They are trying to frame us innocent people and are trying to escape.
එලිදරන් කරන්න හිටියේ මේක මේ මම මේක එලිදරව් කරන්න නැතුව හිටියේ. පස්සේ මේ කට්ටියගේ තියෙන වැඩපිළිවෙල අනුව බලනකොට
Later when I looked at the activities of these people and how they tried to frame me, I realized that there was a threat to my life. This is because if I spilled the beans, all their misdeeds would come to light. It was in fear of that I made this revelation.
Now there is clear evidence. We are telling the government, the police, the bribery commission and the FCID. Here are the rogues and here is the evidence. Now fulfill your duties on behalf of the country. We have evidence from this man that a large number of financial frauds took place in the country. It is very important that he be protected. This is because he has no protection under the Witness Protection Act.
According to former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's media unit, the former head of state is scheduled to leave for Uganda on Wednesday morning.
The fifth swearing-in ceremony of Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni is scheduled to be held on the 12th of this month. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa is leaving for Uganda during the early hours of Wednesday to attend the swearing-in ceremony following an official invitation extended by the Ugandan government. The Republic of Uganda, which is bordered by Kenya, Ethiopia and Sudan in the African continent, has come under much political scrutiny internationally over the past 2 decades. Yoweri Museveni, the country's incumbent president, seized power in 1986. After winning 2 consecutive presidential elections from there on in 2001 and 2006, during his third term of office in 2006, President Yoweri Museveni changed the country's constitution, enabling him to run for as many terms as he wishes. Despite the fact that he emerged victorious at the recently concluded presidential election, Commonwealth election observers, the European Union and the United States claimed that the elections were marred by widespread fraud and voting irregularities. President Museveni, who has ruled Uganda for 3 decades, is constantly accused by international human rights groups of maintaining authoritarian rule. While Museveni is also charged by the United Nations of supplying weapons to guerrilla groups, foreign reports suggest that President Museveni is grooming his son, Brigadier Muhoozi Kainerugaba, to come into power as his successor. Muhoozi Kainerugaba is a brigadier in the Uganda People's Defence Force and is also the commander of the Special Forces Group. While Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni visited Sri Lanka in 2012 at the invitation of then-President Mahinda Rajapaksa, in 2013 Mahinda Rajapaksa paid a visit to Uganda.
He has received an invitation to that ceremony. US President Barack Obama as well as President Mahinda Rajapaksa have been invited. He has accepted the invitation and he is attending the event. There is nothing wrong with that. Well, the people of Uganda reappointed him as the president of their country. That is a decision of the Ugandan people. So we should all be happy about the fact that the former president of Sri Lanka has been invited for the Ugandan president's swearing-in ceremony.
Several left-wing political parties convened a media briefing in Colombo today.
Look at the total amount of loans this government has taken from January 2015 to May 2016. They have obtained these loans through bonds, treasury bills, sovereign bonds and from the private sector. List all of these and tell us. No, they won't. Back then everything could be taken from the central bank, but now that too has been blocked. Only the central bank governor's son-in-law has been benefiting from this since his appointment because the government obtains loans from him. That has become the secondary central bank. There's a company called Perpetual Treasuries. Look it up. This is Sri Lanka's secondary central bank.
Developing Story brought to you by Royal Institute of Colombo. Excellence in higher education.
The Sri Lanka Audit Service Association and the Sri Lanka Accountants Service Association claim that attempts are being made to weaken the draft of the long-awaited National Audit Bill.
The passing of a national audit bill was a promise made to the voters at the concluded presidential and parliamentary elections. The bill is intended to strengthen Parliament's authority over the use of public funds. It is also expected that the bill will confirm and expand on the powers of the Auditor General, the role and independence of the office. The bill is also expected to outline provisions for the establishing of an independent audit commission chaired by the Auditor General. Laws have been in existence since 1993 to impose surcharges on public officials in the event of misuse of finances. At present, it is the ministries and the relevant departments that take the final decision on imposing surcharges. The draft of the National Audit Bill had originally intended to hand over the power of imposing surcharges to the Auditor General.
For 23 years, not a single surcharge has been imposed in the country because the misuse of funds starts at the top or orders are given by the political authorities to spend funds a certain way. Ministry secretaries and department heads are part of that system, so if they are to impose surcharges, they will be the first to get caught. The surcharge does not affect the politicians or the people, it affects the public officials. But they must say clearly whether they are in favour or opposed to this, especially the Administrative Service Association. It is officials from the Administrative Service Association that hold the majority of Ministry Secretary and Department Head positions. So if they are going to pass this bill while holding on to the power they have had for 23 years, it is better if things stay the same. The people expected the strong Auditor General who would be able to protect public property. Instead, now a point has surfaced as to whether what will be presented is a disenfranchised and pointless bill. Are several people working together to prevent powers being granted to eradicate corruption, fraud and theft?
We do
not oppose a surcharge being imposed on persons who have committed wrong. But if an innocent person has to face such a situation, he will not be able to bear it. The subject minister has the power to issue an order to the officials under Article 55(2) of the Constitution. After a decision is made under this order, then a surcharge can be imposed on that official for allocating funds. However, the minister and the political authority who gave the orders to allocate funds are not bound by this. Therefore, there are serious problems like this that need to be addressed. As a policy, the Sri Lanka Administrative Service Association does not object the Audit Act. But what we recommend to the government is to hold a broader dialogue on this matter.
The foundation stone was laid in Hambantota today for the construction of a village under the government's Model Village program.
Housing and Construction Minister Sajith Premadasa laid the foundation stone today for Gajasamaragama Veeravilla, the 48th model village. This model village will comprise of 70 homes.
The world has accepted us today. We will use this friendship to secure an advantage for our country. What is the advantage? Through trade agreements, we will increase investment, increase the number of factories and create 1 million jobs in 5 years. These are not secret agreements. We will discuss these in open, discuss it in Parliament, enter it in the Parliament agenda, and we will only enter it to agreement with the approval of Parliament. A group of political henchmen from the former government who sucked the meat off the nation's bones through benefits and privileges are now saying that it is wrong to enter into trade agreements. They think it will be casino agreements like the ones which were signed by their government. That is not what is happening here. We are signing a free trade agreement.
Land deeds were also presented at this event to 150 landless families in the Lunagamvera Administrative Division.
Senior Vice President of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Minister Nimasiripati Silva, says that the party's Central Committee will discuss the unruly behaviour of its members in Parliament when the committee convenes again. Speaking at a media briefing held at the Government Information Department, the minister elaborated further.
I would like to state that the Central Working Committee of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party will discuss and formulate a program regarding the behaviour of our members, especially their behaviour within Parliament. We request that other political parties also do the same.
Can't the law of the country be enforced in this instance?
It can be. Just because a parliamentarian assaults someone, stabs someone or commits any other crime in parliament, say a murder takes place in parliament, there won't be a protection for them. There is no special immunity as such.
Journalists questioned the minister with regard to the May Day rally and the activities of the SLFP.
If anyone doubted the sustainability of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, that doubt was erased to a great extent following the May Day rally. Now, no one speaks of the splits within the party anymore. They only speak of uniting the party now. At times, cold wars do break out within the party. That is the nature of politics.
Will disciplinary action be taken against those who participated in the May Day rally organised by the joint opposition? General Secretary Duminda Disanayake said so.
Let us see after our Central Working Committee convenes. They want this to happen so that the party can be split and destroyed soon. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party will not fall for such traps that easily.
A group of JP seniors, including party leader Anurukumara Disanayake, visited the Press Complaints Commission of Sri Lanka today.
The JVP lodged a complaint today over a report pertaining to their party, which appeared in a weekend newspaper.
The Minister of Health revealed today that 658 abortions are performed in Sri Lanka on a daily basis. An intellectual dialogue on the topic, should abortion be legalized, was held at the Health Education Bureau today.
While abortion is illegal under existing laws in Sri Lanka, an abortion can only be performed if the mother's life is endangered. However, health authorities say that many maternal mortalities are caused by illegal abortion at present.
About 658 abortions occur in Sri Lanka every day. 112 cases of maternal mortality was reported in Sri Lanka in 2014. 14 of these occurred because of illegal abortion. That is 12.5%. When analyzing maternal mortality over the past few years, we have seen that illegal abortion is the second or third cause of maternal mortality.
Incidentally, health authorities also point out that a majority of abortions in the country are undertaken by married women.
One reason is that they do not want any more children, so they try to terminate the unexpected pregnancy. Or in some other cases, the last child is still very young and there isn't much of a gap between pregnancies. These are the main reasons for women in Sri Lanka to seek abortions. This is very unfortunate. We are well aware that in every nook and cranny of Sri Lanka, the government provides high-quality family planning services free of charge. The services are provided by trained staff. If such a large number of abortions are occurring in Sri Lanka in spite of the services available, we cannot condone it.
It was also revealed during the discussion that there is an increase among young couples seeking abortions.
Considering our social system and our education system over the past 3 or 3.5 decades, we have not been living in a nation with a proper understanding of sex education. However, we are living in a time where feelings are expressed freely. So when young people come to us seeking solutions, as adults, we try to give them the solution we want. And if they do not want it, then what do we do? Can we tell them no and ask them to go away? Then they will seek a solution from the wrong place, and this causes difficulty. So we are forced to leave the law aside and send a message to a trusted place so that they will not face further problems or face a serious financial burden. There is a dire need for a solution to this issue.
Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government Faisal Mustafa made a request today urging strict legal action on dengue breeding grounds. The minister made the plea at a discussion held today.
The discussion was held on the dengue eradication program, which is set to be brought into action in the near future by the Ministry of Provincial Councils and Local Government together with the Ministry of Health. During the discussion, it was revealed that 16,110 dengue patients have been reported in the country within the course of this year. 53% of these patients are from the Western Province. The highest number of patients have been reported from the Colombo district, which is incidentally the highest recorded cases over the past 10 years.
The people's own selfishness could be attributed to the rise in dengue cases today. If the people and everyone in our society make some sort of collective effort to prevent dengue, then there's a possibility that we could reduce the disease from spreading any further. In 3 months, I want you to submit a report to me as to what legal measures have been taken, because I want to increase the number of legal cases in this regard, because the fact that only 20 cases are filed is a joke to my eyes. I'm sorry for saying this. So submit a report to me in 3 months and spread the message to the public that the law on dengue will be strictly enforced.
We can enforce these laws through the Quarantine and Prevention of Diseases Ordinance and the Public Nuisance Ordinance. Under Section 262 of the Public Nuisance Ordinance, the Sri Lanka Police can impose a fine of 25,000 rupees for the first offence, 50,000 rupees for a second offence, while even a 6-month prison sentence could be imposed. Any person who is responsible for dengue breeding grounds or any other form of environmental harm could be arrested under this section.
The youth who was knocked down by a train in Wellawatta last evening succumbed to her injuries. Deputy Director at the National Hospital said that she passed away this morning.
19-year-old Kalemuthu Selvi, who died in the train accident, was a resident of Lulkadura area in Deltota, Kandy. Railway Superintendent Vijay Samarasinghe said that she was knocked down by a train plying from Panadura at around 4:51 last evening. The victim was knocked down between the 9 and 9.5 kilometre post located in close proximity to the Wellawatta train station. Relatives of the victim said she was with a youth who she was betrothed to.
She came to meet me at the Covil and I went to meet her. Since the Covil was closed, 2 of her friends suggested that we go to the beach. While we were at the beach, her 2 friends left us and went in a 3-wheeler. We spoke for a while. Later she said that her friends had returned and left. I put my mobile in my pocket and when I looked up, she had already approached the railway track. Then I screamed to alert her regarding the approaching train, and when she turned around, she was knocked down. She had her mobile in hand.
It's her birthday today, and she died on her birthday. She was born in 1997. Deputy Director at the National Hospital, Dr. Samindi Samarakun, said that the young girl was receiving treatment at the intensive care unit and passed away this morning.
Another leopard carcass was discovered in an estate in Agrapatana, Nuwara today. The leopard carcass was discovered this morning in the Preston estate in Agrapatana, Nuwara. Our reporters said the dead leopard was about 3 feet in length. While the cause of the death has not been ascertained, the Nuwara Wildlife Office said the carcasses of 2 dogs were also discovered at the location. The Wildlife Office is conducting investigations to determine if the leopard had ingested any poison. A leopard carcass was discovered in the Preston estate yesterday as well. Area residents say leopards encroach on their homes to prey on domesticated animals. They say that humans have also been attacked on certain instances.
People who work here are afraid of the leopards. Even the children who go to school are afraid. We request you to take action for us to engage in our activities peacefully.
The Sri Lankan leopard is a threatened species as per the Red List. Over the past several months, Newsfirst has reported on several instances where leopards have been killed in the Nuwara district. The majority of these animals were killed when they were caught in traps set by humans. The killing of leopards has become a racket in many parts of the Nuwara district. Smugglers operating close to the capital are involved with some of these trappers who buy the meat, skin
claws and other parts. We can see that there is a racket in operation here.
එවැගේම නියපොතු වගේ දේවල් ලබා ගැනීම සඳහා ව්‍යාපාරික මට්ටමින් එහෙම නැත්නම් ජාවාරම්කාරී මට්ටමින් මේක ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන තත්ත්වයක් දකින්න ලැබෙනවා.
According to media reports, over the past several years, about 10 leopards are killed every year. Environmentalists say that against the backdrop, a special program should be initiated to protect the endemic Sri Lankan leopard, which is already a threatened species.
The three-day warm-up match between Sri Lanka and Essex is currently underway at County Grounds in Chelmsford. Batting in their first innings after Sri Lanka's poor show with the bat, Essex were in a dominant position thanks to centuries from Yaik Mickelberg and Tom Wesley. Mickelberg's 109 consisted of 17 boundaries, while Tom Wesley's knock of 108 was made up of 14 boundaries. A short while ago, Essex were 373 runs for the loss of 4 wickets with a lead of 120 runs. And with that, wrap up Prime Time News for the News First team. I'm Sandru Ferdinando.
And I'm Bernadine Jai Singha. Take care. Good night.